Hello, and welcome to Academic Matters. I'm Joe Marbach, Provost at LaSalle University and Chief Academic Officer. Today, I'm joined by Dean Paul Brazina of the School of Business. Paul, welcome to the program.
Joe, thank you for having me on. This is quite an experience.
Well, it's a real great pleasure. Paul, for some of the viewers who may not be familiar with you, could you give them a little bit of your background and how you came to LaSalle and why you've chosen to stay for as long as you have?
You know, it's interesting. We never know where our careers go. And I've been at LaSalle for 38 years. And 38 years ago, I was a practicing CPA, practitioner, working for a large international CPA firm, and always had a desire to teach. And LaSalle gave me the opportunity to join the faculty as a teacher practitioner. So they kind of enjoyed the fact that I had a lot of industry experience and could bring that to the classroom. So over the years, I've been on the accounting faculty and bringing the experiences of practice into the classroom. And fortunately, I've updated my practice over 38 years and have a lot of new stories to tell.
Oh, great. And that's very much in keeping with the LaSalle philosophy that education should be practical and relevant. And what better way than to bring practitioners like yourself into the classroom and now leading the School of Business?
One of the things that we're trying to do, and it's actually a fairly new initiative for us, recognizing that the Christian Brothers have always tried to mix practice and theory into our education. Our new focus for the School of Business is really combining that and working with students to develop a life of purpose. Now, it's a strange term to use, life of purpose. You know, what does it really mean? What we mean by that is that we want students to really pick a career that they'll have passion for, that when you wake up in the morning, instead of finding it sort of a drudge to go to work like a lot of people do, that as we work with students over their 4 years here, and then also in the graduate programs, that they pick a career path, that when they wake up in the morning, they're excited to go to work. Could be for a large global company, it could be for a nonprofit, it could be for a healthcare organization. But we want people to really enjoy what they're doing and see it as more of an avocation than just a job. The other part of that is when they're not at work, and we care about that also. So we love students to be able to be involved in their community, and we encourage that, and we have programs where students are active in the community, and that when they graduate, they'll keep that up. That is, they'll still be active members of their community, have a good life, a full life, and also be involved in their religion and in spiritual issues.
And so I know there's a real movement in the school to link the study of business to a liberal arts education, and that's being looked at. And I also know that in addition to the traditional ways of finding a career through accounting or finance or marketing or management, that you're looking at allowing students to kind of make their own way through a general degree and especially through an entrepreneurship, which is new and exciting in the school.
You know, when you look at the economy and you look at the tough economic conditions, people are always saying, you know, where's the future? And one of the things that we see in the future for a lot of people are starting their own businesses and joining entrepreneurial firms. So this past year, we opened up a Center for Entrepreneurship. And that center is certainly to work with students who have ideas while they're students, to launch ideas, and even when they graduate, to come back and get the support of our Entrepreneurship Center. In that center, we have a highly skilled executive director. We have active involvement of our faculty, but more importantly, we have tremendous support from our alumni base.
Yeah, the really passionate support, and folks who have put their money where their mouth is, in a sense, and have really come to the plate and supported that center.
That's right, and we see that as something that will be long-term, that will add a lot of value to the Philadelphia region and hopefully grow some new businesses and have some real success stories. Okay.
Besides entrepreneurship, what other new and exciting programs are you going to be launching in the business school?
There are actually quite a few. In finance, we've just recently started a track as a chartered financial analyst. And in that track, students prepare for the CFA exam. We're one of the few schools in the country that has a very targeted CFA program.
And a very good success rate in that
and
exam.
Extremely good success rate. We've the first time that our students took the exam, they doubled the national average in their results. We also have a really vibrant program in accounting. LaSalle has traditionally, in the nation really, been one of the most successful accounting programs. We have partners in all the major firms. They come back, they work with our students. And we've developed a few programs where we allow students to earn the 150 credit hours to become a CPA in a 4-year period. Some students can actually get 2 degrees, a bachelor's and an MBA, within 4 years.
Well, and in this kind of economic climate, they really save a lot of money if they should choose that path.
Yeah, tremendous amount of money, and they also start out at very high salaries. So the students are happy, and even more important, the parents seem to be really delighted.
Right. Now, I know you're looking at some new ways of approaching marketing with a sales program and considering some changes to how we teach management.
We have a really engaged marketing faculty, and what they've noticed over the years is that our students are very bright in marketing. They're able to link data analysis to marketing. But one of the things that people really need in the marketplace is to be able to make a sale, effectively make a sale. And our faculty has developed a whole program in sales marketing linked to business analytics that we think will add a lot of value to their employers.
That's great. Yeah. Now, I know you're very proud of your students and their accomplishments. Our Honor Society was ranked #1 in the nation. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that and also about some of the co-op programs you've got going on.
Well, LaSalle's accredited by AACSB, which is an international accreditation. There's only about 600 schools in the world that have this level of accreditation. And AACSB has an honor society called Beta Gamma Sigma. And last year we were selected the #1 chapter out of all 600 chapters, which was quite an honor.
Yeah.
And I wish I could say I had a lot to do with it, but it's really our students and faculty that did that. And part of that is having students that are really engaged, and part of that engagement is doing co-ops and internships. We have a highly rated Business Scholars co-op program, and this year we're rolling it out to a larger audience.
Where are some of the firms or companies that the Business Scholars are getting employment? And then oftentimes they're offered jobs after going through the co-op, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Business Scholars, that program, 100% of our students that do co-ops and internships through that program are employed at graduation. And it includes, you know, the big 4 accounting firms, the regional accounting firms, companies like Johnson & Johnson, Vanguard Securities. The list goes on, and these are really top-ranked companies, and the students are starting out at nice salaries and great careers. And
you're looking to expand that program and offer it to additional students. And does that pose any particular challenge to you?
Well, you know, the interesting part is that we've been so successful with our employers that placing the students in good jobs has not really been a problem. So the employers are out there. Our biggest challenge is really to make students aware of what the opportunity and really the importance of doing a co-op is. If we're placing 100% of the co-op students in permanent jobs, it should really be a clear message to students that this is something they should be doing.
And particularly in this economy where we still have over 9% unemployment. And really you would think that this would sell itself, this type of program, but I guess the term co-op still has certain connotations that students don't quite understand yet.
Yeah, and we're working with students from the time they're freshmen to understand what co-op means. And actually I said freshmen, we're really working with high school kids to understand that.
Paul, what are your faculty doing? You've got an accomplished faculty. I know a number of key publications have come out, and you were just telling me about one faculty member working with the Department of the Navy on shutting down bases. It sounds like they're doing real practical applications.
What we do is we really encourage our faculty to be actively engaged in research, but research that can be brought back into the classroom. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily research for the sake of doing research, even though some of our faculty members do very lofty type types of research, but we encourage faculty to do the type of work that can be applied to a corporate setting or brought back into the classroom as case studies for students to learn from the research that was performed.
Yeah, and your Business 101 class is a classic example. Every student in the business class takes that, and in the last year, you've changed that from a hypothetical case to actually working with nonprofits, either in the area or internationally too.
What we did is we have a course, a freshman course, that is dealing with an overview of business and specifically business planning. And in past years, we had hypothetical businesses that they would plan for and launch. And this past year, we actually took a different approach. We partnered with the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, where executives from Johnson & Johnson, that's part of that funds, I guess, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, came to our campus once a week that mentored student teams to develop nonprofits that would either provide a product or a service to better the community. And students, these are freshmen, would develop these neat little businesses and then present them to a panel of executives.
Yeah, and so it's really tying that theoretical back to the real world or the practical and demonstrating how we learn by doing in many ways.
That's right. And students, when they do that, when they actually have to put a business together, they get an appreciation for what does accounting really do? What is finance? What is marketing? What's the importance of marketing and developing a marketing plan? And it's kind of exciting to see these pieces come together and the students that get excited about what a career in business would be. I mean, the thing that's interesting, Joe, is that, people look at business and they think it's a very complex specialty that's off by itself. But the truth is, almost everything is business. Everything turns out to be business at some point. And what we want to do is let students know that there are traditional majors, but there are a lot of options for careers. And you can take these traditional majors and then do almost anything that you really desire to do.
Yeah, I think what's the cliche, 50% of the jobs that will exist 10 years from now haven't even been thought of yet or created?
That's right, and that's the whole goal. And the goal is to have students that are flexible, that can go out and see opportunities and take some really solid skills and apply that to new situations.
Okay, thank you, Paul. I think we're just about out of time. I want to thank you for coming in and telling us about the school. It sounds like there's a lot going on. I hope you'll be able to come back sometime next semester perhaps and tell us more about what developments have been going on.
Oh, I'd love to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
My guest has been Dean Paul Brazina of the School of Business. Coming up, I'll be talking with Ed McManness, who's the director of the International Institute at LaSalle University. Welcome back to Academic Matters. I'm Joe Marbach, Provost at LaSalle University. In this segment, I'm joined by Ed McManness, the Director of the International Institute. Ed, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, Ed, you're relatively new to LaSalle, so perhaps you could tell us a little bit about your background, what you've been doing, and then why you were attracted to LaSalle in the first place.
Sure. Well, as a graduate student, married, my wife and I started thinking, how do we merge this global world that we live in? And we wanted to go out and live overseas. I had a master's in education, so I took a job in Indonesia. It's quite a funny story, as we once had a little boy ask us just how far is amnesia? And my wife deadpanned back, I forget. So Indonesia is about, from where we lived, was about 11,000 miles, and quite a distance. And we made a 2-year commitment. I was working for the Indonesian government on a World Bank project.
Okay.
They're teaching English to speakers of other languages, and mostly they were PhD candidates that were coming here to the U.S., and so I was on that project, and we made a 2-year commitment and decided to stay almost 14 years.
Wow, a long time.
And really enjoyed it there. We raised our children there, and it was there that I think we really gained a passion for working with people from other cultures, learning the language, interacting in their culture, their activities, their festivals and things like that we really enjoyed. And so it was there that we really felt a strong commitment to education and to educating people from other cultures. And we kind of know their situation too, because we've had to go and learn a new language.
Experienced it on that end of
exactly,
of
yeah.
what they've done, yeah.
And I think that that's carried over here. I started here on August 15 at the International Institute, which is recruiting international students to come here and study at LaSalle, mostly in undergrad, but there are a few graduate students as well. And we're using that for to help them with their English proficiency. They have the academic skills, but they don't have the English language.
Right.
And so we're working with them.
And so that's often a challenge to foreign students, that they have to be able to try to fit in and also catch up with the language component. And you're really the founding director of this institute, so you're setting it up for what it will be. And perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your vision. What do you see the institute doing, and how big can it get?
Well, one of the realities of LaSalle is that less than 1% of their student population are internationals. And the president's team has the mandate in their strategic plan to have 10%, as you know, 10% of the student body as international students. And so I would like to grow that as large as we could handle here. With the economic times we're in, it's going to be more difficult for people from other countries to afford school here in the U.S., so we've got to make it affordable, and so that's one of my big tasks. How do we do it, make it affordable for them as internationals, but also one of the strategies is to recruit residents, maybe immigrants that live here in the Philadelphia area, who would like a university degree, but they don't have the English. And so that's part of the vision as well. We'll also be offering evening classes in the near future for people who work during the day. And we've had some inquiries about that, is because they can't study during the day when our normal international students, as day students are.
Right, so you need to reach out to some non-traditional students.
Yes.
And I think it's a tremendous service. We know that in the recent census data that has come out, that it's been the immigrant population that's really kind of bolstered the population in the city of Philadelphia.
Yes.
Do you have any particular target markets that you'd be looking at?
Well, we've identified about 8 countries that we'd like to work with for the university, and that's mostly working with recruiters who would be bringing students here. And starting in the Far East, we thought of China, Japan, Indonesia, and Korea. Also India would be a large group that we would recruit from, but they obviously are already know English, but they want to study here at the university. And then we would look at places like Turkey, the Middle East, and then Latin America as well. Okay,
and Latin America offers a particular appeal because of the large number of Christian Brothers schools that, that populate it. I believe we have Christian Brothers in 82 countries, serving nearly 1 million young people. So it's a big audience that we'd like to tap into at some point.
Yeah, and that commitment to education, I think, is part of the LaSallian tradition, and people identify that, and that's what attracted me to come here, being an educator and wanting to, to do something in the area of international education. And so I've begun contacting some of the Catholic high schools here in the U.S. where LaSalle has relationship, because they have immigrants that are studying, and they have ESL programs at the high school level. And we're also looking at ways that we can connect with some of the networks outside of the U.S. as well.
Are there particular local immigrant populations that we might serve, Korean, Chinese, Japanese?
Yes, well, mostly Vietnamese that I've had contact with. There's a large Iraqi population also here, Indonesian population. There's a great, in the southern part of Philadelphia, my family was just at an Indonesian restaurant and had wonderful food. So there's a lot of opportunities.
It's authentic Indonesian.
Very authentic, yeah.
Oh, great. Now, you were mentioning before we went on the air about expanding the reach through online program. What do you have in mind?
Yeah. Well, we've just submitted a few proposals to universities around the world because obviously with the global economic issues that we face, we're getting inquiries from people saying, do you do ESL online? And so we've written a curriculum for that and presented it to a university in Russia. And we're looking to do that in other places where economically it would be difficult, but in order to work in this world, they need English. And so we would be able to do it just from here, from LaSalle. We don't have, holograms and things like that yet, but we'll just, use a camera or Skype and use some of the technology here at the university to offer English to students in universities around the world.
Right, and we do have a history of these types of programs. Busca comes to mind, which targets Latino students.
Yes.
And I would imagine that's another target population that would benefit tremendously. And there's been a lot in the literature about preparing Latinos for college and preparing colleges for Latinos because of the immigration wave or the demographics that we're seeing.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
Are you doing anything in particular for Latino students?
No, I think because of the Busca program that's probably better suited for LaSalle, and that's for those students. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been cooperating with them,
yeah.
and sometimes there's a little bit of that silo effect that we see in academia.
Yeah, I learned a lot from them. It's a great program.
And I think that could be one of our venues into Latin America and taking that. And one opportunity might be to create a Busca-like program for students from Spanish-speaking countries.
Yeah.
Ed, we've only got a few more minutes left. Where's it heading in the immediate future? You've been talking about some 4-credit programs right now. You offer 9-credit programs?
Yeah, we actually have students right now enrolled in the English Language Institute where they're receiving English language instruction without credit. They're just like CEU credits. But what's nice is that they are taking 6 credits in their school. So all of them are in the School of Business. So they're earning credit at the same time, and they're doing quite well in their programs in the School of Business. And then we have academic support services that help them. And so we're looking at doing more of that. We want to offer it because we know it's tough to pay for this. And so if we can offer them credit and allow them the opportunity to matriculate in the university, it'd be great.
I think it's especially key if we're talking about domestic students. And,
yes.
because of the way our tuition structure exists, students can pay the same amount and they can earn 12 to 18 credits. So this would be a great way of allowing them to take those extra credits and also shorten the time that they're here at the university.
Right.
So you're in St. Mushin Hall?
St. Mushin Hall, built in 1829.
Which has been refurbished for you. I hope things are going well down here.
Yeah, it looks great.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's on South Campus, right across from the Communication Center. I imagine you'd encourage visitors?
We'd love to have people visit. Yeah, it's a great place. We have a classroom there. We have some offices. We have room to do reception. So we're looking at a number of things that can be done there at that location.
That's great. And I also understand that we've got the largest group of international students as freshmen enrolling this semester. So hopefully you'll see some of their students, and we'll really be able to develop an international community of students on campus.
Yeah, I think that's the goal, is to internationalize more. And so we're looking at how to be more sensitive to people from other cultures coming here. And we just want to make it as friendly as possible so that they feel like LaSalle's a global place for them.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah. Thank you.
My guest has been Ed McManness. He's the director of the International Institute at LaSalle University. Once again, I'm Joe Marbach, the provost, and thank you for watching.